10.0s is kind of one of the favorite boards I'm riding now, because I went through that whole revolution of riding a longboard, going through the shortboard revolution, and evolving and using materials to make the board lighter and stronger, to now back to a longboard. And I love it. You know, what can I say? You know, I mean, I'm at that point in my life where, for me, surfing, I'm not trying to prove anything. I'm just going in the water to have fun. I don't have to be that guy who's winning the world title. You know, the world title to me is just like waking up, getting in the water, and getting, you know, a good wave. Just feeling that sensation of surfing. The name Zephyr came from the Greeks, or Greek mythology, and it is the god of the west wind. You know, so it was influential in my life when I was younger, mythology and astronomy, and, you know, the way that the stars have an effect on, you know, on us, or the way us in the universe, and the way that the moon has effect on us as and it affects our weight, and it affects the tide. The logo is the waxing crescent moon. It's the first quarter of the moon, you know, as it's going to a full state. Yeah, if you really, you know, fishermen and people who go in the water, surfers, certainly the surf conditions and things, you know, they're really affected, like I would say, all over the world. I consider myself like an underground label. I'm not really a Main Street label. I'm not a production type label. You don't find my boards everywhere in the world. They're not like sold in every surf shop. I'm not looking to make, you know, like the biggest brand or anything. We've done like glassing, we've done subcontract shaping, we've, you know, just all forms of building boards, and you know, just to pay the bills, so I could make some for myself to ride and make some for my friends to ride, which turn into team members, which turns into a lifestyle, turns into a culture. In the days when I was really, really young, first learning how to build boards, it was all about the resin colors. It was all about clean lines. I like to see something visually from a distance. And that was one of the influences for the color and the contrast. It came, I guess, the first time I picked up a spray paint can was like, I was just young, and I learned the spray paint can from the guys at the muffler shop when I was doing the skateboards and things back then. And I'd go hang out at the muffler shop, and they'd be in there welding these mufflers, and then they had like a can of paint, and I saw the paint flying out of the can, you know, spraying the tailpipes and the undercarriage, you know, to make it look cool and stuff. So when the customers, you know, and then they said to me, wow, I said, can I try that, you know, painting the bottom of the car? And then they said, don't paint the wall. And of course, like, I was probably like 7 or 8 years old. I go, no, I'm not ever gonna do that. Got one of the used cans of paint that they had like put in the back. They didn't, you know, it wasn't totally done. Went over to the wall and started painting the wall. I don't know. They tell you not to do something, and then you do it. They tell you you can't do this, so you do it.
Menina, você não deve chorar mais. Oh, menina, você já encontrou a paz.